welcome. Another hot tea with pleasure. I'm Hilary. Hey, Colette.
Hi everyone.
You're here
Hi
again with us
Hilary.
this week. Teresa is not
Yes.
with us. She's still dealing with a family issue, and we wish her well. So why don't you start the show, Colette?
All right. Well, welcome to Hot Tea of Pleasures. I'm Colette with Love in Ontario, Canada.
And I'm Hilary in Ontario, Canada.
All right. So welcome back to our channel, to the Hot Tea of Pleasures, where we will keep it raw and real. Check us out on the social program platforms, Instagram. Watch our previous shows right here on YouTube. Listen to the podcast on RSS as also on TikTok. Like, subscribe, leave your comments. Come join us and lubricate your life.
That's right.
What are you whining about?
It's winter.
Three? Yes.
Although
Yes.
it's fall here, it's actually fall. Um, we have snow next week, and I'm not ready. I am not
Oh
ready.
my
I
goodness.
would rather be on a beach somewhere,
Yeah.
but I have to be realistic. The fact that I just have to embrace my winterhood. So where I live is all different area than yours. So I know you're not dealing with that yet, but I unfortunately
Well,
am. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. What are you whining about, Colette?
I'm whining about the holiday crowds. How they're just
Mm.
always like there's everyone, hustle bustle everywhere. Everyone's literally walking with teams. It's too much. Sometimes I'm just like, why? Like, it's just swimming through the crowds. No
Uh,
one moves when you're walking.
Listen, I
Yeah.
am not about people starting Christmas before December 1st, okay? That's a pet
Yeah.
peeve. So
Right?
I literally refuse to go down the aisle if I see Christmas stuff. I'm like, nope, not going down it. Turn around, go the other way. Okay, I think you're gonna have to maneuver tonight and do the show and do the chat because there's nobody there to do the chat. So,
Yeah, I'm actually logging in now.
mm-hmm.
Then just check into the chat here. All right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're
so I'll
gonna
be watching the chat here. I'll put it here on here. So
oh
if you guys
yeah.
see me looking away, is because I'm looking at the chat or I'm looking here.
And I'm about to spontaneously do something right now. Colette doesn't even know I'm about to do this, but I'm just gonna announce that starting in the new year, I am going to have my own individual podcast as well. Still have hot teas and pleasures, but I gotta start gearing towards my book, and so I will be starting a podcast centered around the book, and yeah, I'm excited about it. And Colette will be the person backing me and making sure I do it right. So I'm excited about that. And I can't wait to share my book with you. I hope that you guys have a good read and learn a little bit of something, not only about me, but about yourself in doing so. The book focuses not only on domestic violence, I don't want that to be the only thing you walk away with, but also has to do a lot with self love, self worth, and understanding your intersectionality as a woman of color. So I am excited. I was going to bring it out for my birthday, but I was like, you know what? No, I want to enjoy my birthday. I don't want to be out there doing book stuff. So I was supposed to be born on Valentine's Day. So I was strategic and will be releasing it on Valentine's Day of 2024. And there's a whole bunch of mix up on my birthday. But, anyways, that date is very important to me. And so I figure, why not full circle it? So here we go. Anyways, let's start the show. We have a lot to talk about. Colette, here we go.
All right. So, oh, Hillary, what is the disclaimer?
Well, the information here is research and we share it. And not everything we say is our opinion. We will put a little bit of our opinion tonight, but majority of it will be information that we found on the web because we are not men.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does vulnerability of men mean? All right. So, male vulnerability is the ability to be open and honest about our feelings and experiences. So, even when they are difficult, it is the willingness to show up and be seen, even when when you're afraid. So being vulnerable is just being open and really expressing your emotions to the person or in the whole, just expressing your emotions.
And the thing is like society does not allow men to be vulnerable. And I always have a pet peeve around this subject because you know, listen, if you take a individual, whether it be a human or a species that is, let's say, animalistic, right? And you tell them they cannot show their emotions, they cannot be vulnerable in any aspect, and then put them in a situation where emotion has to be displayed in order for communication to happen, then what do you think is going to happen when you continuously not allow an individual to show or express their emotion in a positive manner? So let's say, for example, a person is angry or upset or sad and told to shut down, not to express that. If you express that, you're no longer a man. You're now the P word. I'm not going to say it. you know, if you continuously do that, after a while, you've conditioned that person not to express themselves, and that the only thing that they can do is bottle it up and not share it. And so now you heighten that situation over and over and over again. And at some point, that person or individual will break. So, we're going to. You have anything to say, Colette, around that?
Um, well, I have to say, well, yeah, I have to say that for sure with the I feel like that's what happens. Like the the emotions just overbuild. Like it's like almost like as you were saying, like they just break
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So is this best to open up and express those feelings so you don't overload?
Yeah, exactly. So let's go
Um,
into a little bit more in-depth conversation around it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, before we get started, men, have you ever been vulnerable with your significant other? Have you ever been scolded or described as weak? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually type this in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
and you can leave your comment there while we go more further
Mm-hmm.
in here. So, okay, so let me get started.
Okay. So growing up, many men were conditioned not to show their emotions. Be a man, don't cry, don't be such a wiener, all that kind of beautiful stuff. And those words have echoed in their ears for years, from childhood until adulthood, before even understanding their own emotions. While women have been considered more sensitive, men are reminded every chance that they get the society's taboo or talk to express their sadness, anger, and despair and fear. So, what is vulnerability? Colette, you want to tell us?
Yeah, so what is vulnerability is, well, vulnerability is, sorry guys, I was just typing there. Listed. Sorry. Oh my goodness.
So
Please bear with
I'll
me.
continue. Vulnerability is choosing to let your defenses down and bit to connect with other people, uh, exploring ourselves and the new expressions, feelings, and emotions, and it's what makes us human. By the way, it is that invincible connection that makes us tune into our emotions. So always it helps for us to connect with other humans on an emotional level. So imagine that being vulnerability and you telling a person or individual or condition them that they can express that emotion. So when you choose to tell someone I love you for the first time, for example, it requires a great deal of vulnerability. And this is because you're opening up yourself to the
Mhm.
possibility of them saying, well, I don't love you back, or all right, or outright
Yeah.
reject you. In a popular t- uh, TED talk that we saw, they talked about the power of vulnerability and how, you know, it sounds like truth and feelings and emotions and courage and the ability for that connection to happen. And so this is a very, very, very strong way of connecting with other people, as well as showing your strength and courage when you're being vulnerable.
All right.
Society believes what do they believe, Nicolette? Colette?
They believe that a man means that you cannot show your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what society believes, and they believe that a man should not show their emotions. And I feel like it's been like that for a very long time. It means you should always put up a bold exterior, no matter how sad, depressed, or anxious you might be feeling inside. But
Mm-hmm.
what society fails to add to this is the more you choose to suppress and hide these emotions, which Hilary was talking about earlier, the more likely it becomes to develop into a mental health disorders.
Yep.
Bottling your emotions um, up may lead to low self-esteem, mood swings, anger issues, aggression, emotional numbness, even suicidal thoughts.
And you know that's not a lot of guys don't even know that's what it is that they're actually dealing with. My thing is just I'm just picking a mess here. They don't realize that's what they're really dealing with. Is that they're actually dealing with the lack of being able to express themselves, and so they might see themselves getting angry for no reason, or showing some kind of aggression, or having those mood swings and not being able to explain what's happening in that moment, and for or having any kind of emotional numbness. I hear a lot of guys say that I am emotionally numb. A lot of that comes from the conditioning of this is how a man's supposed to be. This is what a man's supposed to look like. This is how a man's supposed to behave, and fitting in a complete one level blanket description of an individual or characteristic, and having all men apply to that particular characteristic.
Yeah, and why is it important for men to be vulnerable? So, before we explore the reasons why vulnerability is a strength, we should ask an important question. Why do men hide their feelings? As mentioned earlier, this is primarily due to the social conditioning. So, all our lives, we are constantly reminded that there is strength in being tough. So, we grow to become men. We learn to hide our emotions behind the cloak of fearfulness, and strength. We smile when we really want to cry. We keep silent, even when we want to scream so badly. Increasingly, anger is a basically interestingly, anger is a perfect example of how men express how their feelings, right? The same goes for discussions around depression. Even though women are more likely to report cases of depression, a 2013 study showed that 30.6% of men will experience major depressive episomes in their lifetime.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing. You know,
yeah.
and you think that after we know this thing, and we'll talk a little bit more later about the different generations and how they
Mhm.
express themselves or how they see emotion and vulnerability. But if we see those kind of rates, why haven't society changed, right? Or why haven't society allow expression of emotion or vulnerability to be a desire, to be an attractive feature of a male?
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing.
unfortunately, being lesser men are speaking about, because lesser men are speaking about their struggles and depression, anxiety, the suicide rate amongst Americans are 4 times higher than those of women, 6 times higher here in Canada. But because we don't show our emotions and talk about them to each other, in fact, men process emotions the same way women do because they're human again. But thanks to society's conditioning, gender stereotypes, and toxic masculinity, men are the more likely to suppress their emotions. When a man chooses to be vulnerable, they can finally become more authentic selves, connect with their emotions better, build better and honest relationships, face their biggest fears, and become honest and have something or someone make them feel. So, you ever had a man look at you and tell he love you?
No.
Okay. Well, it's so. When a man tell you what, and the thing is, you have to know your significant other. I'm talking about cis women, you have to know your significant other, because if you have a man that every minute he's like, I love you, I love you, I love you, maybe he might love you much. Or he's very,
Yeah,
very,
too
very,
many.
very, very, very confident. Just be careful. But if you
Yeah.
have a cis male that that you're in a relationship with, and he doesn't really normally express himself, and he looks at you and says, I'm in love with you, or I love you, you might want to take a minute and just say, wow, I realize that in this moment he's extremely vulnerable, and I have to treat this as special. The same thing vice versa. Don't write me, don't tell me, women, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But we're talking about men today. And what I'm saying is that in that moment when your cis male is being that vulnerable to you, you have to be very, very intentional and pay attention to it and realize
Hmm.
in that moment what is his love language. And if it is affirmations, you will need to say that back to him. If it is gift giving, you might want to either write something down or show some kind of something towards it. If it's more of act of service, do something and also say the words, but that needs to be reciprocated.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the tips that you can give to a man to show him how to be more vulnerable with his mate or with himself?
Well, always be honest about how you feel. So the
Mm-hmm.
first step to being vulnerable is to be honest about how you feel. It
Mm-hmm.
is natural for you to feel sad as a man or for you to feel anxious about something or someone.
Mm-hmm.
But rather than shut it down or ball it up, open up to someone about these emotions. Okay, so remember, don't shy away from that.
Mm-hmm. And face your
Number two,
fears. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, face your fears is a challenging to be vulnerable because it requires you to deal with that courage and that vulnerability, but requires you to confess your love for the first time, for example, I just spoke about, or it requires you to demand respect for someone. That's another way of showing, because showing love doesn't mean always kugly kugly, and
Yeah.
hugging or whatever, but it could be showing love for yourself where you do not allow a person to disrespect you or take your time or sincerity for granted. That can be another way of showing vulnerability. And then, Colette's going to talk to you about finding a therapeutic hobby. I
Yeah.
found
So
one. It's called
did
hiking.
you know that? Did you know that doing something you love can help you focus more on your emotions?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as walking your dog,
Mm-hmm.
exercising, reading a book, or
Oh,
watching a
look who's
movie.
here. Victor. Hi, Victor.
Oh, hi,
How you
Victor.
doing?
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it would give you the time to reflect on your emotions.
Hmm.
So finding that hobby to do that, to release that way, emotions. Like if you want to just sit in silence,
Good
do that.
night.
Good
He said good
night.
night. Good night.
Good night. All
Yeah.
right.
For me, I love hiking. I go out there and I'm by myself. I love the trees. I'm looking at flowers. I'm looking at the animals, the insects, the space, just the quietness, the fact that nobody's here. I love it. And I get to sit in peace and silence and ground myself and practice mental mindfulness. So, whatever it is for you, as long as it's positive and not negative, find that your therapeutic hobby. Next thing you can do, I'm always about this, talking to a therapist or counselor. And the difference between a therapist and the counselor, one can write you a prescription, the other one can't. And then the one can has more assessments can be done around from a therapist. There's nothing wrong with seeking emotional help as a man. It's actually pretty sexy when you do that. In our society, we have created that stigma around men and their mental health troubles, that they can't have any troubles. They're fine. Suck it up and buck it up and get out of here. That kind of behavior. But seeing a therapist is one of the most effective ways for a man to talk and deal with his deepest emotions. There are online therapists if you don't have time to, because again, society has put all this weight on males to make sure they provide for the families. I know a lot of women do work. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm talking about men tonight because I don't want to hear it. Okay. And getting that access to counseling or therapy is very important. Ultimately, allow yourself to be more vulnerable without fear or judgment when you walk into that counseling room, because now you're saying, based on society, I can't handle my emotions. That's what the conditioning is. The conditioning is that you can't handle your emotions. That's why you're in here. No, you're handling your emotions. That's why you're in there. And so go in there. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge others. Don't judge the therapist thinking that they're going to either laugh at you or talk about you over dinner or whatever. It's not going to happen. Again, it's essential to remember that there absolutely nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. In fact, choosing a therapist early enough can prevent a simple problem from turning into a complicated mental health conditioning. So what are you talking about, Nicolette? What do you want to sum up in that little group we just talked about?
Well, it is important that you learn to be vulnerable as a man, and it's even more important to be kind to yourself during the process. Be patient with yourself. Okay, it's okay if you mess up here and there. If you don't, if it takes you a little longer
Yep.
to
Don't
open
beat
up,
yourself
that is
up.
fine.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Just the fact that you're starting and that you're trying, like that, that's enough. That's good.
Yeah, and the fact is, the chance, if you do mess up, remember, you can go and try it again. Uh,
Hmm.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and those emotions and that conditioning that you're now experiencing has been years and years and years of conditioning. It's going to take some time for you to get out of that behavior.
Yes. All
So,
right. I'm gonna
did yeah.
should we continue that way or go on to the next
Did you
question?
know that? So, do you think that that men are turned on by women's vulnerability?
Well, chat.
So,
I'll tell you. Well,
Victor, you want to answer that question? Are men turned on by a woman's vulnerability? Colette, what about you? You think men are turned on by women's vulnerability?
yes, I feel like they do. I
Mm,
feel they are turned on by that we because we can't fully be authentic without being first vulnerable.
mm-hmm.
And this willingness is to be deeply open and transparent makes us irresistible to a man.
Mm-hmm.
And one reason vulnerability is so attractive to a man is that he has a deep need to be needed and to be protective of us.
Yeah.
Victor had chat. You want to
Yeah,
go ahead?
Victor is actually saying what I was just about to say. He says depends, not by the needy ones though. So there's a fine line between vulnerability and being needy. So you can show your vulnerability, but not to the point where now it's becoming extremely emotional, where it's becoming toxic. You don't want that. But showing your vulnerability by being, your raw and true self, and expressing yourself when it needs to be expressed in a positive manner is extremely sexy to a man. And it shows the authenticity and the fact that, oh, you feel so confident in yourself to make sure that you're good. I know that you're going to make sure that I'm good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, baby. Hi, baby face. How you
Oh, hi,
doing?
babyface.
Good
Eiffel,
night.
welcome.
Welcome. All regulars are
Thank you for
coming
joining.
through. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask the audience, do you feel that vulnerability of a man depends on the generation of that male? So, Colette, why don't you go through the generations because that's really important. I think that generationally, men express themselves differently, and we're allowed to express themselves differently. Yeah. She's,
Yeah, so the comparison of generation, baby boomers
mm-hmm,
is 19, so years 1946 to 1964. We
mm-hmm,
got Generation X, 1965 to 1980,
mm-hmm.
Gen Y, or what else? What else is Gen Y
Millennium. Oh, you mean
called?
the millenniums?
Yes, from year 1980 to 1994. Then we got Generation Z from 1995 to 2009. Alpha from 2010 to 2024.
Okay, let's go back to those baby boomers and Generation X. But
Yeah.
Generation X is a whole other level. They different.
Yeah.
They just I'm part of
Yeah.
Generation X. We different. We're just different,
Yes.
okay? I don't know, we drank too much Coca-Cola or something, or wear too much polka dots and stripes and I don't know, or too much fluorescent color was happening in the 80s, but we different. They're just a different breed. They don't there's a movie that just came out. You got to watch it, Colette. It's called oh my God, Old Dads. Oh my gosh,
Okay, I'll
girl,
take it note. Yeah.
you gotta watch it. It's on Netflix. Oh my goodness, whoo, Lord, I think they broke every rule, but it really reflected how Generation X thinks.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put that as the average thinker of Generation X. They're very, very, very boisterous, very. So, baby boomers and Generation X were known offenders of chastising males that showed any kind of emotion. So, when they showed
Mhm.
emotion, you were considered weak, less than,
Right.
and always that sexuality that goes towards a female. So that has continued over the years. It's getting
Mhm.
better, I think, but I think more Generation Y and the Millenniums and now, of course Z and Alpha. I think they're now trying to change that. Is still needs a lot of work. It's a lot of work
Yeah.
still
There's
needs
too
to
many
happen,
emotions.
huh?
Too much. Too many emotions, I would say, from Gen Z, especially, I feel. Which is nothing wrong with
So
that, but
many
I just feel like
emotions.
at times it's kind of like just research first before reaction, you
Well,
know?
this is the complaint that a lot of people
You
are
react too
complaining
quick.
about. They're saying that baby boomers and Generation X didn't have enough emotion, and then you have
Mhm.
millenniums and Zeds have too much emotions, and they're not listening to each other. You know,
Yeah,
so I don't know which one is the balance. Maybe Alpha is the balance. I have no clue. I've lost
yeah, yeah.
I've lost track of who's who anymore. But anyways, we know that there is a lot of stereotypes in society and biases based on the generations and how they were raised and what they saw as male. And
Mhm.
again, a lot of that is conditioning from society as to what men are supposed to be doing, how they're supposed to look, smell. I mean, there's so much to it. How a man's supposed to look, how a man's supposed to smell, how tall a
Yeah.
man's supposed to be. There is that height thing, girl. If a man is not over
Yes.
5'8", you short. You're not a man. Like I mean,
But
there's a
on
lot.
Tinder, they put false
Yes,
um heights.
yes.
And men should not do that. I feel like
Oh, we talking
say if
about
you're 5'8",
dating
you're
apps?
5'8".
On the dating apps, they put the
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
height. But that's sad because when you show up, aren't you going to see what height they are?
I don't know why men, can you answer that for us? Why are you so concerned about your height?
Because society has told them that if you're short, you're not a man. What are you talking about, girl? You know that they say that
It's
a tall
true.
man is what a woman desires. A woman wants a
Mhm.
tall man. That means he's strong and strapped and he can handle his stuff and he can handle this and blah 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 whatever whatever. It's all pressure. It's all the side. It's the same thing. Like I mean, women are now asking men out, but for many years and still happens where women are expecting a man to ask her out. And we never thought or considered the fact that it's hard for that man to cross that road or even to come across the dance floor to come and ask you out, right? And then
Mhm.
pray to God you say yes. Pray to God you
Yes.
say yes, because
I actually
yeah, go on.
actually have a friend who actually did say that he does not like to ask. He said that women have a better chance because we can just go up to any guy and ask. But for him, he's not going to go to any girl because it's embarrassing if a girl shuns us down. He said that he feels that women have it easier
Mm-hmm.
than men when it comes to that, when it comes to approaching. But I told him like, just take a chance, you never know. Um,
Read the room.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But I feel like it's for him it was the same. Like
Mhm.
for a man, I guess I don't know. I guess they put themselves in a box. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they put themselves in the
But
box. I think we put them in that box. Society
yeah,
has told men that they have to dress a certain way, act a certain way, and be a certain way, or not they're not men. And so
yes,
part of it is asking the woman out, paying for dinner, for example. And I know some ladies are going to say, "Well, I pay for my own." Yeah, you pay for your own thing, but if you pull out the wallet, you'll be fine. I'm just saying that
right.
it's society that puts that pressure there. I'm not saying that it
Yeah,
happens all the time. I'm just saying that society does put that pressure there.
yeah.
Okay, so
I
let's
guess
take a quick break and we're going to come all the way back. Again, with Hot Tea with Pleasures, remember to like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok. And we'll be right back with more Hot Teas with Pleasure. Please don't go anywhere. Hang in there, Baby Eiffel and Victor. Thank you so much for coming through. And stay where you are. Do not leave. We'll be right back with more Hot Tea with Pleasures.
Cause when life and sugar, they just want to stick. The woman know they're thirsty and they want to taste it. Sugar boy, don't play with my head. If I can't get you, boy, I don't want no one else. Sugar boy, please understand. Don't ever give my dinner to another woman. Chitanga down low, when I come up so. Cause when life and sugar, they just want to stick. The woman know they're thirsty and they want to taste it. Sugar boy, don't play with my head. If I can't get you, boy, I don't want no one else. Sugar boy, please understand.
Okay, and we're back. All right. You know, welcome us back there, Colette.
all right. Sorry guys, my audio was down for a bit.
Okay. We're back here with Hot Tea with Pleasures. We're keeping it raw and real. I'm Hilary, Ontario, Canada.
And I'm Colette from Ontario, Canada.
Yes, don't tell anybody where you live.
I was close.
I know. That was funny. Okay, so let's do a little recap about what we've been talking about so far.
Yeah, so far we were talking about this vulnerability of men, of what it means. So first, what does it mean? The ability to be open and honest, opening up the feelings and experiences, and just being vulnerable to that person, or just in the whole of being vulnerable. We also went into the fact of the tips. There's 4 tips, so I'm gonna quickly go through those. Number 1, always be honest in how you feel, face your fears, find a therapeutic hobby that is positive, not negative.
Yes.
4, talk to a therapist. So going to finding a therapist that you'll be able to, or just a community, or the online. I think they have the online help as well that you can talk to and be open to as well. Sorry, I was looking on the side there. I was looking at the chat. It's probably
Is
going to the left
the
there.
chat distracting you?
Yeah, I was checking it out, but see if anyone was there to any questions.
Hmm.
We also had some questions that I threw in here, and I actually have the question pinned in the chat, which is, have you ever been vulnerable with your significant other, and have you ever been described as weak if you have opened up? So if you're would like to, you can leave your answer below there as well. Um, what else did we talk about? We talked about the fact is if do men get turned on by us or attracted by our vulnerability, and they, some do. I feel like they some do it, or it depends. That was the answer, right? It just
It
depends.
depends. If the woman is a little bit too, with the less with the word, for the lack of better word, emotional, and
Hmm.
comes off as needy, then that might not be so attractive. Baby Eiffel says some are, but those that don't know how to react, but stay guarded. And that's another thing, is that a lot of men stay guarded with their emotions because they might have experience a female or a relationship where their vulnerability has been taken for granted or has been used against them. That is a reality. That when you do show your vulnerability, you are opening up yourself to others and praying to God that they are respectable of your vulnerability and cherish it and see it as an opportunity to connect with you and not as an opportunity to destroy you or to use it against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another question that we had asked, that was all the question. Oh wait, do you feel that the vulnerability of men depends on the generation of the male? So
Right.
do you feel the vulnerability of men depend on generation, on their generation?
Yeah.
And if so, why? Why do you think that? Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, is that, we have to be honest with ourselves and say that a lot of us are still learning. Respect is something that comes along with a lot of things. It comes along with understanding and education and experience and openness and authenticity. I mean, there's so many different things that comes along with that. And where we are now as a society, sometimes we just don't say what we mean. And sometimes we say what we mean, but we say it in a very mean and destructive manner. So there's so much going on there that we have to allow ourselves. And if you can take one thing out of that whole script, is, trust yourself. You know when you're being treated nicely, and you know when you're treated badly. And so
Yeah.
if you show your vulnerability, know that it's for yourself, and a person treats you badly or try to use it against you, you have the ability, and try to find the ability through therapy, through self-help, through self-love, self-worth, or understanding of self, whatever you have to use, to know in that moment that if you're not being appreciated, then they don't get to your vulnerability. They get the other side. Right?
Yeah.
And we have to be honest with that, because that does happen. It does happen where a person can see that you're vulnerable and take advantage of it.
Exactly. That's another thing too, because you know women do that sometimes. Some women
But you know what's
do
so
do that,
interesting about
unfortunately.
this whole episode?
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna vent. Uh, when I said we were gonna do this episode, right? I had some females were like, "Why?" We go through this and we go through that and we go through this and we. I get it and I
Yeah.
understand. Don't get me wrong. I get it and I understand. And you know me, I am an advocate of domestic violence as well as human trafficking and sex workers. So don't preach to me. I get it. But what we have to be honest with ourselves and say is that society has also told men that they have to be a certain way. And so that
It's true.
conditioning is also causing a lot of problems that we as women have to deal with. Because if you do not
It's
allow a
true.
man to show his emotions or be human, he becomes animalistic. And the behavior and the results is domestic violence. So we have to all talk about this problem, and it is a problem. And
Yeah.
maybe I will say, so true what you just said. Yes, it does, of course, and thank you for that. We have to be honest. Well, listen, I'm a feminist too, okay? But you cannot have femininity without masculinity, okay? And in order for us to get this problem under control with domestic violence and violence in itself and partner gender violence, we have to talk about everything at the table, not just one side of the table, because when you put all the weight on one side of the table, it breaks or flops or turns over. So we have to make the table balance. And so we have to invite everybody to the table so we can have these discussions and conversations. And if you're uncomfortable with it, you can close your ears and you'll be fine. I'm sorry. I am not apologizing for talking about the vulnerability of a man, because we as society has shut that off and we want them to behave a certain way. But when they do, we tell them that they're you know what, and then we want the other results. So we got to figure out what we want. Say what you want, but do better. Okay. So that's my little pet peeve. And anybody want to write me? Yeah, go on Instagram. You can write us there. Okay. It's the truth. I think that we have to really, we have to be honest with that. If we have conditioned men to behave a certain way, why do we expect any different?
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same thing with women. If we create and we have when it happens and we talk about women and we talk about the pressures of being a woman and all the conditioning and the commercialization and everything behind it, we talk about that stuff and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe that they did it to us. Well, oh my God, I can't believe they did it to men. Right?
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about the whole capitalistic view of it and where it really stems from, we will never really truly change societal behavior. So that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think?
Men are people too.
Yeah, we're all humans at the end of the day. We want people to have this whole inclusivity and diversity and all that stuff. And it's lovely and beautiful to write down, but let's start actually practicing by being inclusive. You cannot leave one set of people out of a conversation that affects all. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So that's my 2 cents about that. And again, if you have a problem with what I just said, I really don't care. I'm being honest. That's my authentic self. And that's how I feel of a woman with it that has boys who are now men. I do not want them to be judged because they have a penis. I'm sorry. That is not what I want for them. I want them to be judged by their character and their personality and their individuality and their education and their love and their desire and respect. And I do not need any person, I don't care what sex you are, looking at them and saying, oh, because you are a male, you are less than, or you're aggressive, or you are this. And there are black males. So I don't want to hear the word aggression associated with them. So let's all work together to get this information, to get back on board and work together and not tit the table on one side and make it inclusive so that men can be at the table and have that conversation and say what's bothering them. We can say what's bothering us and we can work together to come up with an inclusive conversation. Hey, Rudy. Rudy's back. Oh, he said good night, family. Who's that there on the left? That's Colette. He's talking about you, Colette.
That's Colette. Yeah, I was like, your cousin.
He knows you. He knows you. She's messing with you. We glad to see you. Are you doing good? How you doing? Are you feeling good? Yeah, Rudy, what do you gotta say about this? We got what, 15 more minutes left. What do you gotta say about how society, the pressures of being a male in this society now, as we stand, and being a cis male at that, meaning a male that's attracted to women, and attracted to women. So, what is your 2 cents about that? So Colette, have you ever been in a situation where a man has been vulnerable towards you, and have you,
Mm,
how have you reacted to that vulnerability? And vulnerability can come in many different ways. Okay, it doesn't have to
mm,
come with, he said, "Hey, I ain't got no problems." Okay, that's good. Vulnerability can come in various ways. It can come in
yeah.
speech. It can come in emotion. It can come in just being a true, authentic self and say, "I here I am, as I am." And you love me or don't like me, that I am. This is who I am. Have you ever had any of those kind of situations? He goes, there are plenty of women to go around. I can't. He's back.
Oh my
He's
God.
feeling better. He's feeling better. Rudy, your friend
Yes, I
Victor is here. I'm not sure, he's kind of quiet, but he's here. Yeah. Go on, Colette.
yeah, yes, I have before. I'm already I'm a listener,
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely welcomed it very well. To the point where they do continually come to me with their issues as well. But yeah, I definitely I'm yeah, as I said, like I'm a listener, so I took it in with positivity. I didn't see them as weak or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in fact, I am happy that
Mm.
they, chose to speak about their situation. And if it's a first step, of
Yeah.
getting positive, changing
Yeah.
their lives.
I'm very much, I think it's very sexy and very, for a man to show his vulnerability, and that means that he's showing me his all, and if he that means he trusts me
Mhm.
as well to be able to
Yeah.
show that. And so I find it very sexy, when a man is being his true self and not have to try to be. I cannot deal with any guy that come to me all dressed in a pretty bow. I can't deal with you. Because that's not who you
Yeah.
are. Okay, because at the end of the day, if we're gonna grow old together, I'm gonna see your ass, and I'm gonna see you without teeth and whatever. And if you're gonna try to be all up in the mirror and everything, I ain't got time for you. So I'd rather an authentic man that is secure in himself to show me his true self, to make mistakes
Mhm.
and correct them, and also be apologetic in that manner. I'm just gonna read a couple of things in the chat.
Mhm.
Rudy's Baby Eiffel said, "Hi, Rudy." She said, "Good night. Thanks again for the good discussion." She's talking to us.
No
You're welcome,
problem. Yeah.
baby
Yeah. You're
face.
welcome. Thank you for
Rudy
joining.
says he missed me. That's why he's so quiet. He's talking about Victor, and then he said, "Hi, baby Eiffel." They're
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So Colette, what you got going on? I know that we're just gonna end it there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different counseling agencies around, and therapy around for anyone, not only males, to go in and get in contact and connect with your emotions. If you have a mental health issue, do not stay quiet. It's okay not to be okay. Find a friend that you trust and open up to them. And if you don't want to go into a therapist or a counselor, but tell someone, do not bottle it up, because it comes out in a different way. And for many men, it comes out in the way of aggression. So, Colette, let's talk about your social media. Let's talk about your
Yes.
business. Tell us a little bit about Colette with Love.
Well, Colette with Love, I had started off the brand as basically a social media consulting service. But I decided that I think I might go into the storytelling, like creating videos. So I
Mm-hmm.
am still experimenting with my brand, but I definitely do love creating videos and just the digital side of it.
Right.
I enjoy, but yeah, more to come.
Uh-oh,
We'll
here
see in
comes
the new
trouble.
year, maybe. I don't know.
Uh, here,
What
so
about you?
me, I am. I said, as I said in a part of the show, I am very
Yes.
excited about my book coming out. It's called Fact I'm Black, and it has to do with the fact of me going through all these different traumas and experiences as a child into my teen years, and in my late teens, getting into the area of economical and emotional abuse, and realizing that after all those years dealing with obesity, dealing with molestation and sexual assault and all these things, domestic violence, I forgot the one thing that kind of barriers is this big barrier that I had in my life, and I kept saying, why am I hitting against my why do I get any help? Why are certain people getting help and I'm not getting the help? Why is it not being offered to me? Why is no one coming to rescue me? Is the words that I would use sometimes. And I forgot, and not that I forgot because I can't forget. I look in the mirror every day, but I never thought about the fact that as a woman of color, there is that intersectionality in North America where barriers have been created to make sure that I do not advance. And so coming to the realization of that and accepting myself and loving myself and using self-worth and self-understanding, I was able to navigate to where I am today, where I love and accept who I am and just live a life of peace. So the book talks about that, and you get to see a child and through a child's eye what that looks like.
Oh, Babyface wants to read it.
Huh?
Babyface wants to
Oh,
read
you
it.
want to read it? Oh, I hope you read it. I can't. It's coming out on February 14th. That is Valentine's Day. I made it purposely. I did it there because I was supposed to be born on Valentine's Day. I'm very, very... Rudy goes, wait, you wrote a book? Oh, no. And that they're talking, they're going back and forth. Babyface says she wants to read the book, and Rudy said, Babyface, it only has 10 pages. Oh, Lord.
Oh, my goodness.
I miss Rudy. Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious. Victor says,
yeah, welcome back, Rudy.
Teresa ain't paid her internet or monthly payments for her microphone, so she's been replaced. That is not true.
Oh, my goodness.
That is not true. You guys are so bad. Oh, I missed the trouble. I missed the trouble in the chat. But look, it's almost the end of the thing. But anyways, let me finish off about the book. It's coming out February 14th. I will have a book launch, and I am very, very, very excited. I had to go through a lot of self-love and a lot of acceptance to finish this book, and it took me many, many years. People kept asking about the book and when is it finished and when is it coming out and blah 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 blah. What's the name of the book? I couldn't tell them the name of the book because I kept changing it. At one point it was like, I am the child of my father and the daughter of my mother. That was it was that title. It was just, I kept changing it over and over again. And that's because I was trying so hard to accept myself. And I will thank Toastmasters for that. Toastmasters International is a speaking organization, a professional organization that helps you get in tune with your speech and your presentation. And in doing so, it acted as a therapy for me, and I was able to express myself every time I did a speech or a contest. And he said, Victor, she ain't sell nobody lotion. That's why.
Oh my goodness.
They are so bad. They're so bad. Are we laughing because, like, they just say these things that...
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, did you just say that? And he goes, a lot of that ashy people in Barbados, so she's better get busy. Oh, Barbados, I love you. I don't know what he's talking about. But anyways,
actually.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap it up here. Next week we will be bringing to attention to human trafficking. I am very much advocate for talking about human trafficking, and it's one of those businesses that, and is a business, people, that is so dangerous, and at the same time it's all around the world. Every country, city, town in the world have some form of human trafficking, and we need to work together to deal with this. And human trafficking comes in various forms, from sex workers to body parts in Tanzania. Is so many different things. So human trafficking, it doesn't only mean sex, it could also mean body parts, and we really have to advocate for that. The biggest human trafficking we know about was slavery, if you think about it. And so we will be tying human trafficking along with domestic violence and speaking about violence against women. If you know someone that's being trafficked, please do not approach them. Be a witness. Call 911. Have that conversation with the professionals who are trained to deal with that. Okay, Colette with love, thank you so much for helping us out while Teresa's away. I think you're doing one more show with me.
Yes.
So I look forward to seeing you next Saturday, and we look forward to seeing all of you next Saturday here on YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Hot Tea with Pleasures, where we keep it raw and real, and we lubricate your life. And we also keep it moist. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Colette. And thanks. We forgot to thank everybody in the audience. Thanks to Rudy and Victor and Baby Eiffel for always coming through. Thank you so much. He said, I got to go and move my plane. Later, family.
Be safe.
Bye, Rudy. It show's ending anyways. Don't come back. Come back next week. Okay. So thank you all for coming through. And for those who are in the chat quiet, thank you for being there. And again, Hot Tea with Pleasures, where we keep it raw and real and we lubricate your life, keeping it moist. We will see you next Saturday. Bye, Colette.
Bye.
He said 10 pages and only pictures in that book. Boy, I can't. Okay, bye.
Oh my goodness.
That's fact, taking big swings, jam to the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took a red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real. But I was exposed to